I'm just going to try and remember to go back to this meeting here. Okay, so now we are live stream and saying welcome to everybody who's watching this live. Or if you're on the replay as well, we would encourage you just to stop for a moment and just ponder this if you like. That would be wonderful. We want to introduce ourselves because we haven't been on live on our page for quite some time, but I'm Roselyn and with me is my friend Bev Becker.
Hello, everyone.
We are talking all things Christmas. That's what's on our heart. And we really feel led by the Lord to talk about having Christmas that is focused on Jesus in a culture that is so counterculture to the times that we're in. Christmas has become so busy, so commercialized, and so many things have entered into compete with the message of Christmas that we thought it would be great to remind ourselves that focusing on Jesus with our kids in our homes is the best thing that we can do.
Yes.
Both Bev and I have been working mums with 3 children, so we do know what it's like, don't we, Bev?
Yes, we do indeed. Very busy season and working at the same time.
Yeah, and it's easy to let things slide because it can feel like another thing to do. But we are going to help you focus for the next few weeks. We're going to be popping up on Monday nights. At this time, 8 o'clock in Melbourne time, and interviewing lots of different parents. So you're not going to hear just one style of one family, how they do, but talking to lots of parents who've been down the path and go, what do they do to help focus their families on Jesus at Christmas time in amongst this culture that is so counterculture to what we are living in anyway. Plus, on top of that, we'll put a link down below of where you can sign up to some resources. Now, I'm going to brag about Bev. She has written amazing stories around the Christmas story that you can read to your kids and actually lead them into moments with Jesus. So it's not just reading a book, but it's questions. So you can have reflections and discussion and prayer time and lead them into an encounter with Jesus. Then we know kids love to be busy and use their hands. So we're also going to be sending you some hands-on activities again so that kids can do something, but in amongst the play, you might also encounter Jesus and have conversations with your children around faith and lead them into moments with Jesus. So that's our plan. Oh, and a playlist, a Spotify playlist. Because you can't have a good Christmas without music home, and a music playlist that we've compiled just to make it a little bit easier for you of songs that will help put your kids' hearts and minds in the right place, but actually not drive you crazy as well with the sound. So that's our plan. Anyway, we'll pop the link in down below after this so that if you want to subscribe to that, you can let us know that you want it, because we're going to be sending that out via emails to grab all those resources, and they're all going to be completely free. And we will send you a link also to the upcoming conversations that we're going to have via Zoom or Facebook, a Facebook group. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit of a blurb for me.
Yay. So our first interviewee to find out what she does around Christmas is Roselyn Owen. Okay, Roselyn, are you ready to share your pearls of wisdom and your fun things that you do? I know that you do some really creative, interesting things around Christmas.
We try to be.
Okay, so first tell us about yourself.
Well, where do I start? When you've lived this long, there's lots to tell, isn't there? I do have 3 adult children, and next year I'm going to become a grandma for the very first time, and so is Bev actually. Yeah. But also I've done children's ministries for probably about 3 decades now, and had the extraordinary experience of just being able to follow my passion and help children walk into knowing God for themselves by having real encounters. So that's been a passion that I've been able to do for a number of years, and led teams of people to do that. I live in Warrandyte, Victoria, so my favourite place to go walking is the Warrandyte River, which is running pretty high at the moment after all the rain in Melbourne that we've had.
It is.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Normally I'd say I'd love a good coffee as I go walking, but I'm fasting coffee at the moment. So coffee's off my list. And
oh my goodness, really?
I know. I am.
Oh.
I know. For 21 days.
Ooh. 21 days? Go you. Goodness. I did it for one day the other day and I got a terrible headache.
I did the first day. Second day I was good, but first day I was like, what's that headache there for? And I go, oh.
Coffee. Mm. Well, great. Nice to know you, Roselyn.
Thank you.
So tell me something. What do you love about Christmas?
I love lots of things about Christmas. Now that my kids are older, one thing that we actually love about Christmas is the challenge of actually finding the right gift for the person you're giving to and waiting for their response and reaction when they open the present to see if you've nailed it. You know,
how do you go about knowing what the perfect gift is?
Yeah, lots of listening. Sometimes a bit of brainstorming with other family members helps.
Yes.
And talking about, what do you think about this? We've kind of changed our gift giving in our house a little bit now that kids are older. We've gone to having stockings, the old-fashioned stocking, but you've got to find something that goes in the stocking and it's got to be under $20 and fit in the stocking. So that's kind of a bit of a challenge. And then we just have one person usually in our family that we're giving to as well.
Okay, that's cool. That's a simple way of doing it.
That's one thing that we love. Another thing that we love, do I bounce into this now? Pre-Christmas, we make our own Christmas trees.
Yes. So they're always amazing. Every year they're different.
Yeah, they are.
How do you come up with, do you sit down together as a family and decide what it's going to look like, or does one?
No, we don't. I think sometimes people might compare notes, do a lot of Pinteresting, but the challenge is to try and find what we've got on hand that we can use to make a Christmas tree. And so sometimes we do go to the recycle shop and, and thankfully I can come up with great ideas, but I married an engineer and he should be the one that does all the hard work of actually taking my idea and making it stand up.
That's brilliant. But I've noticed that your daughter is pretty good as well.
Yeah, she is. She's
pretty handy with a hammer.
Yeah. She loves a good power tool. And so, yes, she's made some really good things as well. And so we've been doing this for a number of years. And even mums and dads, if you're listening, we started when my kids were preschoolers because I didn't want a Christmas tree that I had to worry and fuss about because I just had enough to do when you've got preschoolers at home. So we got a big box, like a refrigerator cardboard box, and my husband cut out the tree. Then I got the kids to paint it and decorate it. And then I didn't worry about, if they pulled a decoration off or something like that. It just was a non-event. And so time went by and we ended up living in America for a few years. And we bought fresh trees, as you do a lot in America. We went to farms and we cut down a tree and brought it home, and that was good. And we continued that for a while until my husband said, I really loved it when we made trees. But by then my kids were teenagers and I was like, how do you get teenagers involved in this, So we did, and we sort of got creative. And we had some years when there was not a lot of participation, there was more watching. But now that they're all young adults, we've all decided and committed to it that we like the tradition and that maybe we'll keep this one, and we just sort of morph it every year as we go along. So
it's amazing. I think we should go back on Facebook and find all the pictures.
Yes.
A few years back and post them down below.
Yeah, I think I've got a video on some of the ones that I've made, so I might pop that into one of the things if anyone's interested. I don't know why you're interested, but you can
give us some
crazy
ideas.
Trees we make.
I
haven't decided this year's. I think I'm going to make a green felt tree because I saw my son was throwing out some green felt when he's cleaning out, getting ready for his baby, see? And I said, oh, that's too nice to throw away. I think I'll keep that. And then I thought, a Christmas tree.
Brilliant.
Anyway.
Good idea. Good thinking. Okay. What don't you like about Christmas, Roselyn?
What don't I like? As a mum,
don't you like? Yes.
I really didn't like having to cook so much.
Oh, yes. Same.
And being stuck in the kitchen the whole time.
So much work. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't enjoy that. What else I didn't like? I don't like the over busyness. Sometimes, it's finding that balance, isn't it, of having being with friends and family, but not committing to too much. So I don't have immediate family here in Melbourne, so that's always helped, because otherwise, I feel like it would be too chaotic. So I don't like all the overcooking, and I don't like getting too busy, probably.
Right. When do you start decorating?
When do I start decorating? Traditionally, the 1st of December. But this year, I'm kind of tempted I might start earlier.
Oh, really?
Oh, well, maybe because we've been doing all this planning, and I'm keep thinking about Christmas and going, maybe I should get them out,
Yeah.
And I have a funny little rule that all of the Christmas decorations have to be down and gone before my birthday, which is the 6th of January.
I think that's a really good rule. Yeah. Yeah, good. I think that's a very good rule. Because I think also when you get live pine trees, they only stay alive and start getting a bit,
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Right. So tell us, what traditions do you have around Christmas other than making your Christmas tree?
Traditions. I guess I found it helpful to build traditions. And when I listened to older women, they told me, because it is hard work, like it is work.
It is.
Decorating, buying presents, getting stockings and food. It is actually work. And so you're kind of tempted to minimalize it sometimes or outsource it. But when I listened to older women, they said that they really did a lot of traditions, and then they found their adult kids wanted to come home because of the traditions. And when I heard that, I went,
it's worth it.
Okay, I will work on having some traditions. So one is decorating. We absolutely decorate. I say it's probably more the girls in the house that do the decorating. We do have stockings, and we do have Christmas trees, and we do the gifts, and we do a special meal, but everybody cooks around our meal, because I didn't like doing all the cooking myself. And so everybody prepares something for the meal. So we all cook together, and we all prepare a course.
Nice.
I love going to a church service on Christmas Day. Really like it. I think it comes back to when I got saved as a girl at 16, and going to Christmas service made sense after I got saved, and I just love it, and I really love it. I go to the carols by candlelight rehearsal with my daughter. Our tradition as well.
Oh, in Melbourne?
Yeah, in Melbourne, in the Music Bowl. So that's been our tradition. We go there. So music in the house is always, I get the moans and the groans still about the songs I choose, but it still comes on in the house. We would often read the Christmas story or watch the nativity movie as well. So, and I've also, so that's probably some of our family traditions.
Yes. And what do you guys do or not do with Santa?
Oh, yeah. Santa, hey? When my kids were little, look, if you're watching this on the replay, take it or leave it. It was my decision at the time. I don't know if I'd make the same decision now, but I guess I made the decision that I wanted to be a reference point of truth for my kids. I didn't want to mix fantasy and faith. Anyway, so we decided Santa was a decoration in our house. And so Santa was decoration, that's fine. But he wasn't really taught as the one as the gift giver. Mum and Dad were the gift givers, and other people were the gifts givers. And so that's what we did for our kids. And I've asked my kids as they've got older, and they don't feel like they've missed out. So I feel like, phew, maybe I did okay with that decision.
Yeah.
But it does get tricky. I remember my daughter coming home from school when she was in grade 1. She'd not long started school at grade 1, and Christmas had come around, and she was so upset when her teacher was telling all the kids about Santa and that Santa was true. And the injustice that rose inside of her was really something else. And it is a difficult thing to navigate in our culture, you know.
It is, yeah.
That your kids they're going to stand out. They're going to be different. But I think they've become amazing, resilient kids as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they do. And I know even with our family, I think we did this. We didn't do the Santa thing much at all, and but our children would often come around and ask, well, you know, what do other people do? Why do they do it? And I just used to tell them that it's just a game that some families play.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And they were happy with that answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always encourage my kids, look, if other people believe it, you want to believe it, it's not your job to point it out that this is what we do. That you can, that's not your responsibility. It's really a mum and dad's responsibility.
Yeah,
and
that's good too.
We encourage them not to be the person
party pooper. Yeah. Who outed Santa.
Oh dear. But I do empathize for the parents, and I think particularly, you know, and I guess it's coming back to why we want to do this series, Bev, is that it is counterculture, and it's counterculture to speak truth and say truth.
Yes.
But I think it's even harder now, you know, like 20 years on from my kids, it's even more marginalized, but also maybe it's even more important to talk about truth.
Yes.
And we actually, and I'm not suggesting that everybody take my stance by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes.
But I still think it's important to speak truth to our kids.
Yeah.
And not put the two together.
Yeah, I think it's very important, and it is nice to know that your children didn't feel like they missed out on anything.
Yes, that's very nice. As later on,
yeah.
We don't feel like it.
Yeah, it kind of gives you some perspective.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what my kids choose. I don't know.
It will be. You'll find out next year, next Christmas. Okay, so your funniest memory of Christmas or best Christmas joke for kids?
Oh, I should have looked up the best Christmas joke. I didn't. Funniest memory is my childhood memory. Oh, maybe I should tell you one even for, we had a funny COVID Christmas. I mean, everybody did, right? But it was a funny one last year. I don't know whether to tell you that story or a childhood memory one. Anyway, doesn't matter. COVID Christmas last year. I think in Melbourne, again, if you're watching purposes, we had amazing lockdowns during COVID and restrictions. And anyway, COVID during amongst some of the restrictions, my son gets a notification to say he's been in close contact and he should go and get himself tested, because we were going to go to a function that afternoon with extended adopted family that we love called the Bournes. And so he wasn't going to be able to go without getting his test. So we have our Christmas meal and he goes, I better go and find a testing station. And then my daughter, and he goes driving off to try and find that. My daughter had stood on something in the garden and her foot started to get red and inflamed and got infected. And we're going, well, that doesn't look good. You know, you better go and find out what's happening. And anyway, we rang around doctors and emergencies and anyway.
On Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day. So we've had first course, 2 courses. We haven't got to dessert, and all this is sort of erupting and we're, you know, we're like, what's going on? And she says, well, I found a doctor. I think I'll better go to this doctor. But we've got electric gates on our property because we live on an acre. The electric gates decided not to work, didn't they? I don't know what happened. And it's a hot day in Melbourne. So my other son and husband are down at the gates trying to manually open the gates so my daughter can get out to go to the emergency doctor and come back. And then my daughter-in-law we're just left there by ourselves going, oh, I guess we'll have to ourselves. We don't know what's going on.
Oh, what a Christmas.
It was like a COVID Christmas. We were not
one for the books.
It was a bit funny, but
oh my goodness, telling me.
Oh dear.
History making Christmases.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So from the funniest to something a bit more, how do you keep Jesus in focus at Christmas in our busy contemporary culture?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, again, I'd probably come back to being aware of children's senses here. So I would make sure if I'm decorating, I actually always try and weave that through my decorations.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So there are visual reminders, whether that be a nativity scene or whether it be an angel or words. Sometimes when I find decorations that had words that relate to the Christmas story, like peace and Noel and joy, I would grab those decorations too, because I think kids are visual and the visual reminders are really helpful. So I weave it probably through the decorations. We would probably even do it if we were doing nighttime storytelling. We would do nighttime storytelling with books and stories that related to the Christmas and what it all meant, and things like that. Probably then, the not dwelling on the Santa, that sort of went out the door. So I guess it's the removal of things that are more, would I dare say, use the word of distraction?
Distraction, yeah, I would.
From the message. I'm just tempted to let them drop away and not make them a big thing. I mean, if you want to, it's up to you, but I tended to let those things drop away. And I think that there's lots of those messages that are around everywhere anyway. So yes. I'm the one who's charged with bringing forth the truth and the spiritual side of things. So I would even write messages on their gift tags on their Christmas on their gifts. And write something really special in here, that it's to remind you how loved you are and that God loves you. And it's not just a tag, it's actually got a message in the gift tag as well, to them, and reinforce those sorts of things. Of course, reading the Christmas story, we would sometimes sit around the table, or my husband and I would read the story to them. I think storytelling is wonderful for kids. It's so powerful. And the scripture tells us to keep telling of his wonders, to tell the stories over and over again. So to keep telling the stories, and you just then, as they get older, reinvent how you tell the stories. Is it with a movie or is it with something else? So yeah, perhaps tapping into their senses around that, as much as possible as I could, visually, auditory, and music as well, helps a lot as well. And lots of casual things, so lots of casual conversations, not so much formal and traditional, though traditions I found have to morph and change over the years as kids grow as well.
Yes.
So you can't stick into a tradition that no longer fits. Sometimes you have to morph it. And of course, we would encourage a church service, but not always. But we would encourage them to go to church together on a Christmas day, if possible. But that's not as essential. But we're pretty simple things, I think. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty simple things.
But focused.
Yeah, and intentional.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. If you had to redo or to reinvent your family's Christmas times, what would you do?
What would I do? That's a good question. I didn't ponder that question too much before I came in.
Well, I don't know if you'd need to redo. It sounds to me like you have been reinventing them as your children have gotten older. Is there something you would do differently?
There's probably one thing I would work on more, that I've tried to work on as I got older, and I hope they're not watching, or catch the replay. Probably giving outside of the family. I would probably do a little bit more of. And that's something I've tried to focus on as they've gotten older, and they're adults who can own it. But I think that's something I would love to have added in more, giving to the others round about and sharing the good news further than in the home, or into a family. I probably would have done something like that. I think that would be a wonderful addition.
Yes, sounds like it. Well, great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insight and your ideas. It's great.
Oh, well, let's hope that inspires or blesses somebody, something in there you can take away with.
Yes.
As we've all gleaned from other women, hopefully there's something in there for someone else.
Yes, indeed. And we look forward to doing this again.
Yeah, we do.
In a week's time.
Now, Bev, before we go, can I add one more thing?
Yes, you can.
Or two more things, actually.
Yes.
As I was just waiting on the Lord before we started, and I'm hoping someone's watching at the end. I'm going to trust the Lord that you've gotten all the way through. I felt like there were a couple of words of encouragement for people who might be watching. And one is for some single dads who might feel like you're a single dad either by whether you're widowed, divorced, or separated, well, circumstances have got you into the place where you're a single dad. I just want to encourage the single dads that you can be the significant person of faith and building these traditions with your kids. You can do this. And I just felt like the Lord wanted to encourage you that you can do it, and it would be powerful and it would be really meaningful with your children, no matter what your spouse, if you have one or not have one, or what's happened in the past. But you as a dad are very, very powerful and can create wonderful traditions of faith and wonder with your children. So let me encourage those single dads. And also the second word that I felt like there was for someone who perhaps has been wounded from disappointed Christmases and not sure that you're able to kind of face another Christmas and actually have a go at this, about bringing children and bringing faith into your Christmas. And again, I just felt like the Lord wanted to heal you and actually bring some redemption there, and to, as if it were, to lift your head up and say, it's okay, this Christmas is going to be great and it's going to be wonderful and it's going to be a warm, healing Christmas for you.
Thank you, Roselyn. That's awesome. So we bless those dads out there.
Yeah, we do.
With authority and with inspiration and confidence.
Absolutely.
And we bless those wounded hearts and disappointed hearts with healing and hope in Jesus' name.
Amen. Be blessed. Check out below the links that we'll put in there so that you can grab the resources that we've been talking about, sign up for them. You'll only get emails for this particular 5 weeks that we're doing it. We won't be sending you endless emails if you're worried about that, but please feel free to grab it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Roselyn.
Thank you, Facebook.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.